Okay, so I just saw The Monkey King, or no, I didn't just saw because I saw it, then I ate lunch, but I saw The Monkey King, and it is not good. I want to start off by saying a few things here, right? I knew this movie was going to be bad, don't get me wrong. I saw bad reviews. I saw people calling it, one of the worst animated movies they've seen in a long time. So I knew that I probably wasn't going to like this movie. But I didn't know what it was about, and I think, I don't know if that helped or hurt the experience, but I think it did hurt it, because what this movie was about is one of the most preachy, pretentious things I've ever seen. And this movie is so targeted towards kids, and it feels like it's trying to make a point and teach people a lesson rather than actually telling a compelling story. It starts out like that with this narration that's so preachy and pretentious, and I keep saying those things, but it's true, because I was just so bored with those things, and it didn't feel like a movie. It just felt like a copy of movies, and it felt like I'd seen that scene so many times before, and I was like, come on, man, can't you do something original? Like, what the heck? It's like, it's an amazing year of animated movies. You have like Across the Spider-Verse. Even movies like the Super Mario Brothers movie, I don't think that movie's great, but at least the animation was pretty great, and I think that like the animation this year, regardless of the quality of the movies, has been amazing. And then along comes The Monkey King, that dethrones everything. This movie really just follows the formula of so many movies that we have seen before, and it got really boring because I knew exactly what was going to happen in the movie, and like everything fell into place perfectly, like how I knew it was going to. And I was like watching and I was like, this is just bad. There's like this musical number in this movie that's like a ripoff of something, and I was bored in that scene, but I was also cringing so much, and I was like, oh my god. Additionally, the jokes do not land in this movie whatsoever. I found myself just really just like oof at so many jokes that happened throughout this movie, and I was like, bruh, can't you be a little more creative? Why do you have to aim this movie solely towards kids and just teaching them a message? And you can't even tell a good story. This story, it's so like, people don't make sense in this movie. It's like one person will do something and then the other person will follow through with that decision. I'm like, bruh, you've been against this person, not against like there's this character. She's kind of like, the side player or side person in the movie, and she's such a, I don't want to say interesting, because I wasn't very interested in her character. She's a very simple character, but she's also a very confusing character at the same time, because she will do things, make decisions that are so questionable based on what she has done earlier in the movie, and like, she will take someone's side when she's the most like against them. It was really, it just didn't work for me, and I was really confused by it. I talked about the animation earlier, but the animation in this movie, it was fine, but it didn't really stick out at all. And I was like, bruh, this is just like 2023, the style of animation has gone all over the place in a good way. Look at Across the Spider-Verse. That movie, oh my god. But when you go here, it kind of reminds me of The Magician's Elephant, another movie that came out earlier this year that I hated. And here, it follows the same formula of a bunch of anime movies. I'm like, yeah, it's fine, but if you're coming out this year, try to do something different. It's just like, There are actually a few scenes in this movie where the Monkey King, who's the main character, he is little, and they do either flashbacks to when he was little. That's kind of like the opening of this movie. And then there's a sequence later where something happens and he's little. That's when the movie kind of reached its peak. I'm sorry, just saying peak for this movie sounds terrible, but I'm actually serious. Those were the best parts of the movie, pretty much just because he was really cute, but also because there wasn't a lot of dialogue in those scenes. And oh my god, the dialogue in this movie is awful. I cannot stress this enough, how cringy and just terrible and badly written the dialogue is in this movie. Even thinking about it, I want to throw up, puke. I want to puke on someone's lawn. I don't know when I'm seeing Gran Turismo, but I don't know. The dialogue you've seen, you basically know what they are about to say every single time. And I'm like, okay, he's going to say this, and it happened. And I'm like, bro. I also feel like you have no one to root for in this movie. Everyone is a very unlikable character. And, I mean, yeah, not all of them are unlikable. I would say the main girl is kind of... I didn't think her character was well written, but she wasn't hateable, you know? But, like, I didn't feel like there was anyone to root for in this movie just because of how bad the script was. Also, you know how in movies, like, they have one thing at the beginning and then, you know, they kind of remind you of that same thing later in the movie? It happens here a lot, and I couldn't stand it because they were so focusing on making this movie for kids. And like I said, that hurt so much of the experience because they took these like little things that happen at the beginning of the movie and then they think that they're not going to remember them. And I would feel like kids would all remember them because it's kind of a big thing, even though they make it seem a little what? So something will happen, and then since you forgot about it halfway through the movie, at the end of the movie, they're going to remind you of it, and you're like they're going to make a reference to it, and you're like, oh, I remember that now, and then the thing that they reference is going to show up. It's so, I feel like no one else besides kids who, like, don't know what's going on will enjoy this movie. I just realized, why does my hair look like this? Oh my god. They have this kind of theme rolling throughout this movie about acceptance, and it reminded me of a movie that came out earlier this year, Nimona, that I liked that movie, and I feel like they did that theme of acceptance a lot better, like so much better. I thought it was handled really well in that movie. Here, it feels very preachy and over the top, and it felt like it was repeating itself a lot, and it got super tiring with how much they literally said the same thing so many times over and over and over and over, and I was just like, bro, can you just stop? There is one scene at the end that did kind of like, it was better than the rest of the movie. I'll say that. Like, there's a conversation between two people, and I was like, okay, this is kind of heartfelt, but it's also very generic and cringy, and I'm like, this is just like a retrend of so many things that we have seen before. In general, I just really wanted this movie to end. Like that opening scene of the movie, I hated it, and then they just kept that going throughout the rest of the movie. I was like, can you just please end? I don't want to watch this. Do we even want to finish this? I don't know if I even want to finish this, bro. Yeah, I want it to end. I did not enjoy my time. I thought it was awful. The Monkey King, slap a 1.5 star on you. You suck. I hope we don't get these movies like this again in 2023. We already had one, like The Magician's Elephant, that I hated, and that this kind of falls in the same lane. I really hope that we get more stuff like Across the Spider-Verse this year, or Suzume, that I thought that movie was really good. So if we get more of those, I'm all in. But this, do not give me this. Not now. I just realized there are 2 movies that came out this year where one of the villains says, why won't you just die? Or why can't you just die or something? Yeah. Did they copy it? I don't know. I mean, that if they did, that this movie would be made in like 5 months or something, because no, not 5 months, like less, because John Wick 4 did have that. If it was, I wouldn't be surprised by that, honestly. All right, thanks for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye.